found the Texas Steampunk Connection, your source for steampunk event information in the great free state of Texas.
We also discuss books, films, comics, and games.
Also, we enjoy visiting with the local steampunk luminaries.
I'm Flavio.
I'm Erika.
And I'm Thax,
your hosts.
Thank you for tuning in, and now on to the episode.
Hello, Texas. This is Texas Steampunk Connection, Season 2, Episode 12. Can you believe it? 12 episodes already.
This is season
2. Yeah.
It's this year.
Yeah, it's not even a full year yet. So
it's half the year. So we're halfway done.
Halfway done, yeah. We don't even know officially how many episodes per season we're actually doing. We're playing it by ear.
And we want to thank you for sticking with us through all of this. Thank you for continuing to listen.
Yeah, thank you for the new people who have joined us. We have so many more likes this time.
Hooray!
We're well over 300 now. Woohoo! So, what have we been doing lately? We've been on a couple of adventures.
Yes.
I think we started off, since last time it was Circus 1903 we went to.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the Long Center in Austin, Texas.
What did you guys think? I liked it.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
I don't see how you could not like it. It was small and cozy.
For the Long Center.
Well, I mean, since we just come from seeing Cirque du Soleil's show in Houston, and so we could kind of compare and contrast these. This felt much more
personal because of the ringmaster was talking to us directly.
Yeah, and that really had an effect. And he pulled people onto the stage, little people, children's.
One of the most hardest things to work with.
He did a really good job working with kids is hard, and these were not easy kids to work with particularly. And it made the show. I think it was hilarious and fun. It's super. And they had a lot of very similar acts to Cirque du Soleil.
In fact, a couple of the acts were almost identical. Like the guy balancing on the cone, on the roller things or whatever.
Yeah, the high balancing.
Yeah, that was a very similar act. Let's see what else. Oh,
the lady and the man
throwing that woman around.
Yeah.
Of course, this one she was mean or something. I don't know. She was different.
Yeah,
she was rough on that guy.
It was sort of a unhealthy, erotic relationship-y kind of thing. I don't know. It's kind of hot.
What was it supposed to be? That's the question.
I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was just to add a little spice to the tricks, the throwing and flipping and trapezing and whatnot. And then you have this woman who's being mean to the man that she's trusting to catch her when she flies through the air. Yeah,
that's what I thought was amusing about it. As comparing the two shows, the 1903 and then the Cirque du Soleil, I mean, despite the similar acts, I'm not sure which one I liked better. I mean, because the Cirque du Soleil was definitely exciting with all the jumping around and high flying stuff that they did, and this one was a little bit more subdued. There were some high wire acts and throwing around and stuff, but not nearly as much.
I thought Cirque du Soleil had much more professional, high value acts and stunts and eye candy. I mean, a
lot more going on.
It was just it was a different professional kind of level.
But Cirque du Soleil didn't have elephant puppets.
That's true. Those puppets were awesome.
Those were so cool.
Yeah, that was neat. It made me wish that Circus 1903 had more puppets.
Yeah,
I want more fake animals.
That would be awesome if they did. Yeah.
Yeah, the baby elephant was especially adorable.
Yeah, you can hardly tell there was a man in that, puppeteering that. I mean, it looked pretty realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell it was a puppet. It wasn't a real elephant, but still, the way it moved and everything, it was very realistic.
Right. When you see footage of how playful baby elephants are and how they scamper around and get into everything, and the baby elephant was very endearing in that same way.
I was at least as impressed with the full-size elephant. For a while, I was like, how many people are in there?
I couldn't tell. I could not tell how many people were in that.
I still don't know. It was just enormous. Just like a real elephant is just kind of inspiring.
It's huge,
in how awesomely large it is. And they nailed that. It was so cool. It didn't hurt that we paid half as much to get in as going to see Cirque.
And it was in Austin, so we didn't have to travel.
True. I think we got decent seats. We were pretty much front in the center, to center stage, but not too far back. So I think we got decent seats.
Yes, thank you, Flavio.
You're welcome. So that was fun. So I recommend it. It doesn't look like it's coming anywhere to Texas anymore. We were looking on it. It was supposed to go to San Antonio apparently, but it was canceled.
Facebook is showing it canceled now, but they've got lots and lots of showings in Las Vegas.
So if you're in Las Vegas or plan to go to Las Vegas,
We should go to Las Vegas. Let's do that.
check out Circus 1903 or just go for Las Vegas because it's fun.
Yes. Awesome.
So yeah, we recommend it if you ever get a chance to see it. I definitely recommend going to see it.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was fun. So that's pretty much all we did. Well, that's all I did. These two went off on a different adventure.
Yes.
They went off to New Orleans
We did.
for
We've been talking
a
about
brunch thing.
New Orleans steamboat brunch on the steamship Natchez.
And that was put on by the Baton Rouge Area Steampunk Society, Brass.
Right.
Hi, Margaret.
And we did a little report on it and got some interviews with some of the locals.
Yep.
And let's just run that.
All right, we'll do that. And here we go.
All right, we are here in New Orleans. We took the night bus on Thursday night and slept half a Friday, and now, of course, Saturday it is pouring down rain, and we have taken shelter in, where are we?
We're in the New Orleans Mint Museum.
And that's been here for about 200 years.
Yeah.
And it's a museum not only for the minting of the time, but also upstairs we've got a jazz museum, as you could probably hear in the background, right? Mm-hmm. And
an exhibit of folk art, primitive art.
Local Louisiana folk artists. So we're just chilling in here, staying out of the rain, staying out of the humidity until it lets up, and then we're going to storm the French Quarter, get ourselves completely sauced, and tomorrow we'll be meeting steampunks on the steamboat Natchez.
Mm-hmm. For the steamboat brunch.
Right, yes. So we'll be reporting to you back then. See you soon.
Last time we checked in, we were at the New Orleans Mint, and we were sort of being reined in. And so from there, we made our way quickly across the way to the French Market, which is a covered open-air market, and we waited out the rain there for a bit.
Yep.
Found ponchos and umbrellas just in case. But of course, as soon as we bought the ponchos and umbrellas, the rain stopped because of the magic of the poncho and
We
umbrella.
have magic ponchos.
That stopped the rain. Let's see, what else did we do? We went to the
1850s house.
1850s mansion.
Yeah, we went to the 1850 mansion. Hello, this is Professor Argo guesting with Erika and Thax here. We went to the 1850s museum and house, and we got to see how the upper crust lived and the amazing tilting floors because the foundations are settling. Yes, dubious. And we have had drinks to go, wandering about the streets with alcohol. We've had
walk the streets with alcohol.
And we've had pralines and beignets, and we have taken the ferry across to Algiers Point, which brings us to...
All right.
We are. Oh, okay. We are. Where are we now? We're the Crown
and Anchor Pub.
The Crown and Anchor Pub, which is like a secret British pub at Algiers Point in New Orleans. We've been here a few times before in previous visits, but this is the first time we have entered the pub in the middle of summer to find it filled with Santa Clauses and any various amounts of undress. I just had a long conversation with a
elf.
mohawk-wearing, pantsless elf gentleman who was fascinating. So yeah, we're having a good time. It's not raining anymore. We were forced beignets upon us at what was the name? Cafe Beignet. Apparently they wrote down our order twice, and we were not going to complain about it. Thank you, Cafe Beignet. Anything else we need to add at this point?
Muffalettas.
Oh, of course, yes. We stopped for muffalettas at not Central Market.
Central Grocery.
Central Grocery, or what you've come to know it as is the Red and Green Grocery.
Call it the Red and Green Grocery.
So yeah, we're living it up, getting our drink on, waiting for tomorrow afternoon's brunch at the Steampunk Nachos. Well, logging off. We'll talk to you again soon. Hello. We are checking in. It is Sunday afternoon at the mouth of the mighty Mississippi, and we are about to embark on the steamer Natchez and meet all our new steampunk friends. Since we last tuned in, we went back to the hotel, really, after having a few drinks and meeting Santa Clauses, and I continued to drink quite heavily. And I had a challenging morning, but we went out and we visited the Museum of Southern Cuisine, and we ate some very hoity-toity food at Toops. That's what, Toups? Which is definitely more fine dining than I'm used to. You want to add anything? There's anything else?
Well, now we're just sitting on the banks of the river, watching a storm possibly rolling in, listening to the seagulls, watching the people in the boats go by. It is a lovely overcast afternoon with a cool breeze coming off the river, and we are just soaking up the atmosphere.
And it has been hot and humid all weekend, so getting this cool breeze in is a real treat. But nevertheless, we're watching these clouds get closer and closer. It's exciting. We're so looking forward to this. We will check back in probably just a few hours as we have our adventure. Let's talk to you soon. All right, we're checking back in. We're on the ship. We have had our second brunch for the day, and I am sitting with my new friend Mike. Mike, introduce yourselves to our listeners.
Well, my name is Mike. I'm a local artist here in New Orleans. I'm also a steampunk. Not necessarily always a steampunk artist, though I do have a lot of that crossover in my work, and I do investigate the crossover between the steampunk world and the world of fine arts. But that's what I'm all about.
But what drew you into steampunk? How did you get here?
How did I get here? Well, I like to wear ascots, and I went on eBay and I'll search for ascot, and it said steampunk, and I said, steampunk, what's that? So I googled what's steampunk, and then I came across some steampunk music I started listening to, and then I liked the aesthetics, and it's just like brought me in from there.
Tell me more about your art. If it's not explicitly steampunk, where do you get your muse?
My artwork is a lot of mixed media assemblage with found objects and recycled materials. So there is a lot of like old metal stuff in there, and there's a lot of steampunk aesthetics in it. But I do really try to sort of bridge that gap between the steampunk world and the the world of contemporary artwork.
Fantastic. So for our listeners, how would they find your work? How would they reach you if they wanted to know more?
Well, they can go to my, I have a Facebook page, Mike Kilgore Studio. It shows all my, I have an artist page on Facebook. I also have a few things on Etsy. But I am, I've done a lot of stuff. I've, sort of in transition right now, doing some different things. But, so I do a lot of like furniture and crafts as well as contemporary art. So if they find me on Facebook, they'll see they'll see the whole range of everything I do.
Excellent, fantastic, and of course we will be posting a link to your work on our Facebook page when we post this article. I want to thank you, Mike, for spending a few moments with us on this both of our first river cruise on the steamship Natchez.
And hopefully not the last one.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
All right, now I am sitting with Clay. You are a friend of Russ Argo, who we've been traveling with, and he told me to look out for you. And you look amazing. You are clearly the most easy to find steampunk of the entire group. Clay, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been doing steampunk for about 10 years now, and the base uniform I'm wearing is about 8 years old, but I have done many variations of it. It is supposed to be a uniform for the Free French Republic of Louisiana, and it is from a world where Napoleon won at Waterloo due to the fact that he had Archimedes rifles, which are basically laser rifles which take power from the sun. I'm wearing the uniform of a presidential guard from the Republic of Louisiana. I have been a maker since I have started steampunk. It's one of the reasons I enjoy steampunk. And I've made this Tesla saber I'm wearing, the eyepiece, and several other pieces. I make stuff for other people sometimes. I mainly make it for myself, but I don't do it for a profit. I do it for friendship. But, you know, if you're looking to do that kind of stuff, just never pass up the opportunity to pick something up that you can, and just keep it till you find a use for it.
I want to take a moment to just describe what I'm seeing you have put together. You started with like breastplates and gorget from an earlier period, and then you've got sort of a military uniform, probably Edwardian, with a lot of patches and military insignias. Your helmet is brass with a outlandish pair of goggles, and you've got a monocular on one side with its own 3D eyeball in it. And I tell you, as I'm speaking to you, I don't know which eye to look at. You look fantastic.
The breastplate and the gorget is to represent basically the lifeguard of the British household. That's basically our version, the presidential version of France, of Louisiana, but it's that's the lifeguard, the soldiers on horse that protect the Queen of England.
And I also notice it would appear you are not wearing a single gear. It is pretty common for people to adorn themselves with gears along with their other steampunk accoutrement, and you have gone in another direction.
Yeah, I have a hand that is a steampunk clockwork hand that has some gears on it, but it was ruined in the flood of Baton Rouge in August, and I haven't had a chance to replace the leather glove in it. I was trying to get it ready for today, but I was redoing it and just it wasn't ready. But that has some gears, and I mean I use gears when gears are appropriate, but I do not use gears when it's not appropriate.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. Now you are in Baton Rouge.
Okay, no. I lived in New Orleans almost all my life. When Katrina happened, I was forced out to Baton Rouge. Okay, I lived in Baton Rouge for 11 years, and then August 13th was the Great Flood of Baton Rouge. It destroyed over half of Baton Rouge, including my house. We had over 7 feet of water in my costume room. And yes, I say a costume room. I had an 11 by 23 foot room. I've been costuming since, well, my mother got me to start costuming when I was 3. But I started really designing and working on costumes since I was 17. So about 35 years. And I had a whole room full of them. And so, yeah, I saved some pieces, but a lot of pieces were lost.
That's rough, man. I know that there's been a lot of tragic circumstances through flooding in Louisiana. It's just thrown everybody to the winds. So I'm glad you were able to come back to New Orleans. You've moved back to New Orleans now, and you're being able to pick it up from there.
Yeah, it's a much better city. It's much better culturally. My friends are here. I'm just much happier here.
Great, I'm glad to hear it. I want to thank you for spending a little time with me.
I'm glad to meet you. All right, great.
I am sitting with Miss Margaret, who organized this steampunk river tour, and so I wanted to spend a few moments talking to you and learning about yourself and how this all came about.
I'd be happy to. My name is like you said, Margaret Rose, and I am the president of the Baton Rouge Area Steampunk Society. And we are always trying to find ways to get people involved with steampunk and to keep the members that we have, organized and interested. So about 6 months ago, I believe it was actually February, Christine and I, who is the co-president of Brass, decided, in January we'll do this, and in February we'll do that. And I brought up the idea that I've always wanted to do the jazz cruise on the riverboat. And it would be a wonderful thing for the steampunks to do. So way back in February, we came up with this idea. And it took us this long to get it all together.
So is this the first steampunk cruise of this nature that you've put together?
Yes, it is. This is the very first one that I think anybody has ever been on. and I'm amazed at the turnout, because we've been in a rather slow period, and trying to get people involved in the summer is hard.
Yeah, because it's hot out here.
Oh, it is hot. It is humid. You can stick to the walls. We are very, very thankful for the air conditioning inside. But out on the river, it was wonderful because we had the breezes blowing in, and the view from the steamboat was wonderful. So even though right now I am melting into a puddle, right when we were cruising, it was wonderful.
It really was. It really was.
Yeah.
A number of the patrons here are from Baton Rouge. Do you have a large community there doing things?
We do. We have about 30 members of Brass. At any one time, between 10 and 15 are active. We can count on to do things. With the summertime coming, mostly they're college students, so they're off doing other things. But with MechaCon coming up, I know we have a large contingency going to that. MechaCon is a New Orleans convention that has a big steampunk presence. And then we're not really having anything until October, when we get together again to do the 13th Gate, a haunted house in Baton Rouge.
Oh, that sounds very interesting.
You are more than welcome to come. We will put up all the information as soon as we get it.
And it sounds like, although this is the first river cruise you've taken, you have like monthly events or meetups or social engagements?
We try to keep it monthly just to keep people involved. Mostly we do dinners, pick a different restaurant. Sometimes we'll do a movie night at somebody's house. We'll do steampunk movies. We'll do build days where we can get together and help each other, or sewing days where we can make costumes. It's really hard, though, with all the other things that people have going on, to schedule around everybody's various appointments. but we try to do at least one thing every other month.
Miss Margaret, I want to thank you for spending a little time with us, and thank you for putting together this meetup and fantastic events that we've enjoyed so much.
Oh, you are very welcome, and I hope to see you again soon. Everybody out there, stay steamy.
Okay, that was a direct report from New Orleans by Thax and Erika, and a special guest, Russ, briefly in there.
Yeah, we were traveling with Russ and his family, and
sounds like you guys had a good time.
We did.
And it wasn't just the steamboat thing. You did a bunch of other stuff, obviously.
Oh my gosh!
I
Yeah,
remember
Russ
that
is an
pub.
expert planner.
I remember that pub when I
In
went to New Orleans
Algiers?
with you. Yeah, I don't remember the TARDIS being the front end and when we went there.
No.
Wasn't okay.
They have added on the police box, the TARDIS looking thing,
Front door.
The front door. So
Okay.
so that's your entry
Yeah,
point.
because I remember
now.
Russ mentioning that. And I'm thinking, just like, I don't remember that being there.
No,
and he was
before
only
that-
there like a month or two after we were there.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, but you walk in and it's still the same. It's very dark. It's got the dark wood. It's decorated with beer steins and
I remember that,
kind
yeah.
of kitschy British stuff.
But
and
they're also like totally bought into the Doctor Who stuff.
And did they?
They've got Bad Wolf written on the wall, and they've got TARDISes and stuff like all over the place.
That's
and
funny.
they have a Doctor Who watching night where
cool.
people can come in and have a pint and watch Doctor Who with your best friends, and it's a great place. If I lived anywhere near that would be my bar. I would
your
hang
pub,
out there
your
all the
local
time.
bar, yeah.
I love the Crown and Anchor.
Would you have your own Santa suit?
I might get my own Santa suit. Actually, I have an elf costume, as you may well know.
With or without pants?
Depends how hot it is.
I'm gonna have to say with pants for now. Yeah, but my elf name is Squeezy Peppermint. Thanks to the Facebook memes, I know this. And I would totally do the Santa Rampage in New Orleans. Those people were awesome.
That's funny.
They were really fun.
Yeah, it's not something you expected this time of year to find a bunch of Santa Clauses running
Well, it's
around.
halfway to Christmas.
Okay.
June 25th, halfway to Christmas.
Even
So-
before we went in, there were like a bunch of Santas hanging out
Out front.
at
Smoking
the
a cigarette.
TARDIS. We're like, that's
What's
weird.
going on?
And we
Yeah.
went in. There's like tons more.
You're like feeling out of place now all of a sudden.
Yeah. And the ferry runs later than it did when we were there. When
That's nice.
When we stayed there, the ferry was free, but it only ran until 8 p.m.
Right.
So if you were in the French Quarter after 8 p.m., you had to catch a cab back
Right.
to Algiers, which kind of put a little crimp in everybody's plans.
Mm-hmm.
But now the ferry runs later, but it's $1.
Okay.
$2.
$2.
That's still not bad.
So it's $2 each way, so $4 to go back and forth for the night, but it runs much later in the evenings, especially on weekends. So
That's very convenient then.
it's a little more convenient, and that's how the Santas were going. They did a call. They were going to do a big pub crawl, so they started in. We were at their first
That's like the
stop.
only pub in Algiers. So
Right.
So
everything
they're not
else.
crawling very far.
No, they crawled. They went on the ferry across the river.
Oh, okay.
Which drops
To continue
you
from
right
there.
at the end of Canal Street, right at the edge of the French Quarter.
Right.
And then they went into the quarter, and I'm sure
That's funny.
engaged in all sorts of havoc.
That's hilarious.
Yes, it was fantastic. I love New Orleans.
And that was what, your first day there? Your second day there?
That was
Saturday afternoon.
Okay.
So the first day we actually went out and were able to function.
Well, Friday we got dinner and stuff. We
Yeah, we
got checked in. We did dinner. We walked around the quarter.
Yeah.
We did some stuff.
During the day we slept and
Oh,
recovered.
because it's hot there. And you had a long drive or a long bus ride there.
Yeah, yeah.
But okay. But and the brunch was on Sunday, right?
The brunch was on
Okay.
Sunday.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Sunday
on that
afternoon.
interview there was that kaleidoscope music or whatever. What is
Calliope.
that? Calliope music. What is that?
The Calliope, according to Russ, he told us this, and I'm sure that the guide also told us this, but it is one of 8 steam Calliopes still in existence in the world.
Wow, is it actually on the boat?
It is on the boat.
Okay.
But you can see the steam coming out of the pipes at the top of the ship.
right.
as it's playing.
So the
Awesome.
steam power powers the paddle, and the leftover steam is used to power this musical instrument that is basically the ship.
Nice.
And so this was apparently used back in the day. They would play music on the Calliope to sort of let the passengers know, hey, the steamship is here. It's time to pick up your stuff, or it's time to get on board, or whatever the steamship was doing, because they used to use those for transporting goods up and down the Mississippi. So that was a big exciting thing back in the day, and it was pretty entertaining for us as
The
well.
steamboat is here. The steamboat is here.
Yeah. Oh, it was great.
So
it was
cool.
really cool. I didn't know it did that. We're just sitting on the banks, kind of. There's this storm rolling in, and we're watching the lightning strikes and the seagulls flying, and just kind of relaxing before we had to get on board. And all of a sudden, there's this wonderful Calliope music. Oh my gosh, what is that? It was cool. It was really cool.
So how big was this boat? How big was it? Is it like...
I didn't think it was all that big looking at it from the shore, but then seeing the line of people getting on, I'm like, whoa.
A lot of people.
There's a boat to hold more than I thought.
Yeah.
There was
Over 1,000 passengers.
Wow, over 1,000. How many of those were steampunkers with you guys?
Oh, there was probably about 10 of us.
10 of you.
6 of them, 5 of us.
Yeah.
So you brought half the party.
That's how we do.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So was the brunch happening on the boat?
Yes, they had.
Provided
there's
by
a-
the boat, or-
yes, there's a
okay.
big dining room in the center of the ship, which is blessedly air conditioned. Thank you, Jesus. And and it's a buffet style brunch. And there's all kinds of good Southern, biscuits and gravy and beignets and smoked ham and grits and bread pudding and
I don't want to throw shade, but the beignets on the ship were not up to snuff.
Oh no.
Shame on me, I know. Everything else was terrific.
and we got mint juleps, which were fantastic.
Like juleps, yeah.
And they had coffee, which is awesome.
But if you skip the beignets, then you get extra gravy. Or whatever you want.
We did not go hungry. It was a really good brunch, and
I'm hungry right now.
and as we're cruising up the Mississippi, I guess the captain is giving a little announcement about what we're seeing as we pass.
Okay.
And we've cruised out of New Orleans before. We've
Right.
been on the cruise ship, and we actually saw one of the Carnival cruise ship in port.
dock.
So we've done this trip before, going out the Mississippi, but this was actually interesting because you're actually getting an explanation of what you're seeing as you pass by. So there's this old building that used to be a cotton gin, and they've turned it into luxury condominiums. And
It looks like a big brick building.
it's
On the outside?
yeah. I'd love to see the inside of it.
It had damage. I don't know if it was from a flood or a fire or just age, but you can tell where the top of the building, the brick wall, had caved in, and now there's new bricks there.
Okay.
But then the old bricks below are still there, so it's really
You can
got
see the
a-
color difference in the bricks.
You can see the age and the character that this building has. I'm sure you saw it. It's that "You Are Beautiful" building, right?
Yeah.
It's quite possible, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, someone graffitied it with the words "You are beautiful," kind of after one of the
Huge
rebuilding
letters.
efforts.
And they kept it.
Oh, why not? Yeah.
And then we also passed the largest sugar refinery in the United States. That's right there on the Mississippi, and that produces most of the diabetes found in the United States of America. Hooray!
Yay, America, yeah.
America!
So if you've got a little sugar packet at your restaurant that you put in your coffee, it comes from that building.
Nice. So the steamboat part, it was going like toward out the Mississippi, like toward the Gulf.
Yeah, it went out for
Okay.
about an
It didn't go
hour,
the other
and then
way.
it came back.
Okay.
So it was not the time passed way too fast.
I bet.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was turning around before what happened?
It's like, we're going back already?
Yeah.
So obviously you talked to several of the steampunkers that were there from Baton Rouge. They seem like nice people.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're great folks. They're very active, and they do a lot of stuff. And
Sounds like it. I wish some. Yeah, it sounds like they have the same issue that some of that other groups have. It's like, we got to get people with their schedules and everything just gets in the way, and it's hard to get everybody together and all this kind of stuff. I mean,
Yep.
typical everywhere with that problem.
Yeah.
but at least they're trying, and that's what really counts.
Yep.
You know, and I'm glad you guys made some new friends. I think I already seen some of them like our page on Facebook.
Hooray!
And I know they're going to be listening to the show. So, hey,
right.
guys.
Sorry I missed it. I had to work. I wasn't able to get away.
Aw.
But hopefully next time, if there is a next time. So whatever you guys plan, just keep us in touch. Keep us in mind the next time you're planning stuff. Let us know on our page, Texas Steampunk Connection, and we'll definitely let everybody know about it.
Well, we're also on the Baton Rouge.
Yeah, true. But I'm trying to promote our page.
Cross promotion. All good. Oh, speaking of cross promotion, do you want to talk about Steampunk Dollhouse?
Well, I would like to. I was planning on talking about that when we open our mailbag.
Oh, okay.
This
Sorry,
must be new. We have a mailbag. All right.
I didn't mean to jump ahead.
No
Well,
worries.
let's do that now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
We got two emails.
Yay.
That we can actually 3, I think.
3 emails. All right. Even better.
Let me jump back onto Facebooks.
Yes, I like feedback. If you guys have any comments, questions, anything like that, talk to us on Texas Steampunk Connection on Facebook.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. That lets us know that somebody is out there.
And if we don't answer right away, don't feel bad. Sometimes I don't get but for some reason I don't see the messages every once in a while. It's like, and we all see them, so I think maybe like if one of us sees it, then it goes away, and the other ones don't see it. I don't know how it works, but Facebook does weird things.
Facebook is weird.
But it's what we have at the moment to work with. Do you think we should make our own? Nah.
What?
I would say we should make our own webpage, but that's just redundant.
That's too much work.
Yeah.
That sounds like work. No, thank you.
Although we do have our Roosevelt Adventuring Society webpage that we don't use very much anymore. We can
That's
maybe
true.
convert that. Or
add to.
Or add to, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's our first message?
Paul Torres, back on the 17th, wrote, "Saw you guys at Wimberley. Wanted to get a pic with you as I'm a fan of the podcast, but I chickened out. Lol."
Why? Why did you chicken out?
Oh, we don't bite very much.
Did we talk about the Wimberley event?
No.
Well, there was a Wimberley event, like they do.
Yeah.
I think it went really well. They had all kinds of tables, all kinds of vendors, they had a lot of visitors as well. A lot of people went walking through. I think
There was a couple of dozen vendors, and we got a lot more traffic than their previous event. I think it was pretty successful.
I think so too. I think it went over well.
And live music by the Windmills, which he's awesome.
Yeah, we put his music on last episode.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a good time. And Paul, come on, we're right there. We had the first
table as you walk in the door.
We love you, Paul.
Sure, if I'm not mistaken, I saw him come in with like a family. He had like 2 kids and his wife, and they were all decked out. I'm like, wish they'd come in and talk to me, but they just scooched along. So okay.
Yeah, don't be afraid to approach us. We're nice people most of the time. But especially in public. We
try anyway. Sometimes we have to try a little harder than others.
But thanks for being a fan of the show. Like I said, don't be afraid to approach us next time. What else do we have? Who else do we have? What other message?
Next, back in May 24th, so some time ago, Lance McDonald posted, "Thanks for putting out these podcasts. They help me get through the workday. Y'all do a great job. I have recently started getting into steampunk for only about a year, but the wife and I love it. I have started creating and having a blast designing our steampunk living room."
Wow.
Oh, we want to see pictures.
Yes, pictures.
"I'm glad to hear that there are other Texans into this. I'm just north of Dallas in Anna, and I love the looks people give me when I say steampunk. Some people just don't get it, but y'all do. Keep up the good work."
All right.
Thank you. Thanks for being a fan, and glad to help you get through the day. But we definitely want to see these pictures of your steampunk living room.
Yeah, and we want to meet you at Steampunk November.
Yes,
because that's
definitely
right
Steampunk
in your
November.
neighborhood practically.
Yes, absolutely. Funny that he mentions, when he says steampunk, people don't know what he's talking about.
Right.
We've had that experience too.
All the time.
But not as much as I used to get. These days, a little old lady will come up to me and ask me about my goggles and stuff, but when I say steampunk, they at least have a modicum of understanding that I can then work on.
Right.
So it's
it's better than the complete blank stare.
The word is
what?
getting out there, and I think that's exciting. I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, it definitely is. It makes it a lot easier because sometimes getting that blank look is always like, okay, now what do I say? How do I go from here, kind of thing. It's like. So you said you're up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, he said, right? Well,
Yep.
I don't know if you guys, the Ghost Ship Allegory is up there if you want to meet up with other steampunkers. You know, they have a Facebook page as well. So look them up, see what they're up to. Maybe you guys can, make more friends.
All right. And we have a message from Elizabeth Hedrick. She says, "Good morning. I run the Steampunk Dollhouse podcast, and I wanted to know if I could include a link to your show on my list of steampunk podcast recommendations. Would that be all right? There is no reciprocal obligation." Well, that's okay, Elizabeth, because we are reciprocating anyway.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I've already responded to her online, but yeah, she's got her own podcast. Apparently, she's putting us on a list of podcasts worth
We're
listening
on the
to.
list.
Yeah, so we're going to put her on our list do we have a list? We'll make a list.
We have a list of one
Right.
that I know of.
So if you have a chance, check out the podcast of the Steampunk Dollhouse, hosted by library agent Bluestocking. And she does a really interesting kind of social, political
Discussion?
well, dialogue, monologue at this point, I guess. But she talks about different works of fiction, and she sort of analyzes them through the looking glass of intersectional feminism and social justice and anti-colonialism, and that's kind of the fun thing about steampunk for me, is that we don't have to be. The Victorians were sexist, racist,
colonialist,
colonial,
she brings that up. That all the fiction, a lot of that fiction does have all that in there.
Yeah, and so fiction from the time, of course, is very colored by that, and unfortunately, a lot of our modern fiction sort of takes its cues from that. And so, this is a conversation that I think needs to happen, and it's interesting, and we need to at least be aware of these sort of underlying messages and ideas, just so being aware of them is sort of the first step of getting over them.
Right.
Like, we don't really need the patriarchy and colonialism anymore. If we ever did, it's actually been harmful in a lot of cases.
Exactly.
I think we all listened to her first few episodes, and I was really impressed that she's putting herself out there, having these conversations that we don't really touch on the show.
We try to avoid that part of it.
We're here to have fun and go out and have a good time and tell you where you could have a good time, but we don't,
talk about political or
give you the business end of.
Try not to. I do sometimes.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying,
Sure.
but it's not what we focus on. We're trying.
This is what she is focused on, and if you want to hear more about science fiction and steampunk literature as a method of opening conversations about uncomfortable topics, that's what she's interested in, and that's what she's diving into. So that's pretty badass. She also uses the F-bomb whenever she feels like, which is cool.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, but it's also good to know that there's another steampunk podcast out there.
Hooray.
It's completely different from ours.
Right here in Texas, even.
There's no competition. There never will be any. There shouldn't be any competition.
And she's
it's come one, come all. Everyone podcast. Let's all have fun.
She's just north of Dallas too.
Yep.
Which I thought was interesting. So I'm hoping we get to meet her at Steampunk November.
Definitely, Steampunk November is the place to be in November. Well,
Hooray.
that one weekend anyway. But yeah, it's just, I'm just, like I said, once again, I'm just happy to hear there's another podcast starting up that's steampunk oriented. So that means we're not alone out there. And she made a point that, she made one point in one of hers, like, podcasting is a dog eat dog world kind of thing. You need listeners, you need participation, or else we're just shouting into the wind kind of thing. And for a while there, I felt like we were, but we got a good amount of listeners now. I mean,
we have 2 people emailing
at the very moment.
Three.
Yeah. 3 people. So, and we know we have other fans out there. So I'm grateful for everybody.
Yes, thanks everybody for listening. Go check out the Steampunk Dollhouse.
Yeah, you can catch up. She only has like 3 episodes out right now. 2 of them are really, really short. So yeah, catch up with her. You know, if you like her, subscribe. She's going to talk about literature and steampunk.
Miss Hedrick, we are listening, and thank you for putting yourself out there. We're looking forward to hearing more from you.
Yeah, thank you for actually contacting us and telling us about you. It kind of shocked me. It's like, wow, awesome. What else we have? What are we going to talk about now? What do we got? We have books. We have, what else? I think that's pretty much it. We have a couple more books to talk about. There's
Flavio, you've got a book review, and
Yes,
Erica's
I have
got
a book review.
a little reading.
Yep.
I'll do this book review real quick.
All right.
Sure. Roll along. This is The Janus Affair, a Ministry of Peculiar Occurrences novel. I read the first one, and I really enjoyed it. And this is the second book in that series. You don't necessarily have to read the first one first. You don't have to read them in order, but it helps because there's a little bit of reference back to the first book, but not very much. And once again, it's an adventure book. It's in old London. It's the Ministry of Peculiar Occurrences is a secret government agency that their mandate is to investigate and cover up essentially peculiar occurrences.
Okay.
Usually having to do with the supernatural world or stuff like that. And once again, there's also a conspiracy in the background trying to overthrow the government.
Of course, like you do.
And basically, it's like a steampunk James Bond, but it's a duel,
Okay.
duo. People, you know, strong female character. And lead, she's from Ireland, the colonies.
Is she the lead character?
She's one of the lead characters. Her and her partner, who's actually very, very, very English, but he's progressive enough that he treats her completely as an equal. He doesn't look down on her for being either from the colonies or Irish or a woman, like they used to do back in the day. If you're from the colonies, they still look down on you no matter what you were, back then.
Oh, they still do.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's just a really good adventure book. The steampunk stuff in there is very well done. Like I said, she has a bulletproof corset. Very important,
Where the corsets were stronger and the bullets were weaker.
Yeah. But I mean, I really enjoyed it. If you like high adventure spy novels, this one is definitely one of those, and it has a steampunk bent to it. I really enjoy it. There's several more novels in this series I plan to read. This is only the second one.
And again, the author?
The author is Pip Ballantyne and T. Morris.
All right.
So there's the two authors. I actually think they're a married couple.
I think I heard an interview with them on another podcast that is no longer, but it was interesting.
Cool.
They seem very spry.
Yeah, there was also a podcast that was based on these, and basically it was short stories of different adventures of other agents, and it's kind of radio show-ish, and also it's kind of like someone reading to you, like reading a report to you.
Oh,
so
cool.
it was kind of a mix, and I enjoyed them. What I listened to them, I really enjoyed. So if you look that up, you might find them interesting. But that's all I have to say about that. What do you have?
Well, I was tooling around Amazon on Friday, and I found a free Kindle book called The Story of Ida Pfeiffer and Her Travels in Many Lands. And it is by Anonymous, which actually, at the time it was written, may have actually been written by Ida Pfeiffer, but this was back when women didn't do such scandalous things as writing.
Write a book.
But Ida Pfeiffer is an actual human being, and I was inspired to look up her and then found this book because previous trip to New Orleans, I was hot. Oh my Lord, it was so hot and humid. I don't know how people managed to wear clothes back in the day. I mean, seriously,
Especially
when you think
all the layers
about
that
the
they had to wear
layers and the
everything,
petticoats and the crinolines and the this and then that, I would have died. So I'm like, what did they wear back then? What did female adventurers wear? What did people wear? So anyway, I was looking up female adventurers and I found Ida Pfeiffer. So she's a really interesting person. She did not start traveling until she was 45 years old.
Wow.
She was, she was sort of a rebellious and adventurous young woman, but her parents, her father died when she was 10, and her mom kind of made her buckle down and become a decent young woman. And so she got married and did all the things that a woman should do. She had 2 sons, and once they were grown and established in their own lives, then she got a small inheritance, and she was a widow at that time. And she said, "Okay, I'm going to finally do the traveling I wanted to do."
Awesome.
At age 45. So if if
It
you're
happens. You know.
yeah, if you're a little older and you think, oh, my life has passed me by and I don't have the time to do the things I wanted to do when I was young, hell no. Ida Pfeiffer says, hell no.
Time
You
to go
go
have
do
fun
your
now,
thing.
yeah.
You do you, honey. Anyway,
Is that a direct quote?
yes.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
So I'm gonna do a short reading from this free book from Amazon Kindle. Go look it up. In 1837, she succeeded to an inheritance which lifted the little family out of the slough of poverty and enabled her to provide her sons with good teachers. As they grew up and engaged successfully in professional pursuits, Madame Pfeiffer, who had lost her husband in 1838, found herself once more under the spell of her old passion for travel and in a position to gratify her adventurous inclinations. Her means were somewhat limited, it is true, for she had done much for her husband and her children, but economy was natural to her, and she retained the simple habits she had acquired in her childhood. She was strong, healthy, courageous, and accomplished, and at length, after maturing her plans with anxious consideration, she took up her pilgrim's staff and sallied forth alone. Her first object was to visit the Holy Land and tread in the hallowed footsteps of our Lord.
That's Las Vegas, right?
Yeah. For this purpose, she left Vienna on the 22nd of March, 1842, embarked on board the steamer that was to convey her down the Danube to the Black Sea and the city of Constantinople. Then she repaired to Brusa, Beirut, Jaffa, Jerusalem, the Dead Sea, Nazareth, Damascus, Baalbek, the Lebanon, Alexandria, and Cairo, and traveled across the sandy desert to the Isthmus of Suez and the Red Sea. From Egypt, the adventurous lady returned home by way of Sicily and Italy, visiting Napoli, Rome, and Florence, and arriving in Vienna in December 1842. Wow, what an amazing,
That's a lot of travel.
trip.
Wow.
And
Sounds exhausting.
She did more.
But
There's more.
what year did she leave again?
1842.
And she got back.
Got back in December. So
Okay.
this was a full year
of travel.
of travel. On the 22nd, she left on the 22nd of March, returned home December
Okay.
the same year. So she traveled almost the whole year.
And that was back in the time where traveling from one place to another was a lot slower than nowadays, for sure.
Exactly. So in the following year, she published her experiences under the title of A Journey of a Viennese Lady to the Holy Land. It met with a very favorable reception, to which the simplicity of its style and the faithfulness of its descriptions fully entitled it. With the profits of this book to swell her funds, Madame Pfeiffer felt emboldened to undertake a new expedition. This time she resolved on a northern pilgrimage, expecting an ultimate goal to see nature manifested on a novel and surprising scale. She began her journey to Iceland on the 10th of April, 1845, and returned to Vienna on the 4th of October. Her narrative of the second voyage will be found necessarily much abridged and condensed in the following pages. What should she do next?
That's a lot of travel. I mean, heck, she was 45?
45.
Yeah, I'm 48, and I haven't traveled anywhere nearly that much at all.
Yeah.
Well, when your
crazy.
inheritance comes in,
That's true,
You
when
can
my inheritance
begin.
comes-
Absolutely.
And she was of simple means and couldn't travel like a prince, but she traveled extensively and well. And I really wish there were more descriptions of what she was wearing.
Oh, yeah.
I was really looking for that.
So she's Viennese. That's Vienna. That's Austria, right? So that's not as far to travel as really anywhere in the United States.
No,
if
so you
wanna
start
go
in Europe
someplace.
and travel across Europe to the Holy Land. It's
Train,
still
I guess.
it's still a considerable voyage.
Yeah.
'Cause
A considerable
definitely.
journey.
Because it takes a long time to get from one place to another back then. Even on their train system back then.
And there's old
week.
photographs of her like standing next to camels and stuff. So she did a lot of amazing travel for her time, and I would love to do something similar.
Be careful, they spit.
Bite your freaking face off.
So that is a free book.
That is a free book on Amazon right now, or at least it was on Friday, and it's the story of Ida Pfeiffer. And if you look, she is on Wikipedia, so you can check her out. Her last name is spelled like Michelle Pfeiffer. So Ida Pfeiffer, check her out. She is an amazing, adventurous woman. At the age of 45, she left her 2 children behind. As they were adults. They could fend for
Important to point out,
themselves.
they were adults.
And she said, I'm going to finally do what I've always wanted to do. What an inspiration.
That is awesome. I mean, although nowadays some people, they retire retire, 50s, 60s, they retire, and then they start their travels. I mean, I think my roommate's father has been traveling all over the place recently since he's retired,
Yeah,
So-
I'm eligible to retire in about 8 years, and if I play my cards right, I may be able to travel extensively at that time. But I want to get in a few travels between now and then as well,
Yes, definitely.
which makes it hard to save money. I'd love to go to Vegas again.
The Holy Land. No. Vegas.
I am not so keen on the Holy Land, Jerusalem, and all of that. Those people are
Jerusalem, what?
Those people are kind of crazy. The whole mess of them. It's like, why are you fighting over this? I don't understand.
Because it's the Holy Land, but that's a whole other subject.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's not go there.
I think we're pretty much about to wrap it up. We'll throw on some music and we'll tell you what's coming up. Honestly, there's not a whole lot, but we'll tell you what's coming up, steampunk-wise.
Stay tuned.
Okay, that was Scott Heelan from Frenchie and the Punk and his solo album, Never in the Rocket Century. That song was The Spark. Bloke from the Stoke? I'm not sure what that means. Is that an English thing?
Well, how would I know?
Yeah, I thought you're not English.
I thought he was from New Jersey.
And she's French. So
Right. So, yes, English. It's a midway kind of...
But yeah, he's a great guy. I like him.
Yeah, I think this is Scott's most recent release. I got it with that Kickstarter we talked about some months ago.
Oh yeah. I liked it. So if you like Scott Heelan or if you like Frenchie and the Punk, check them out. We'll put up some links to the music.
Of course.
So we have not a lot coming up this month. Thax, you started out. What's coming up first?
Yeah, it's summertime, so people I think just don't want to go outside, or
it is hot,
hobbiting up in their little houses. But the third Tuesday of the month, we are still having our steampunk meetup here in Austin, the regular place at Sherlock's Baker Street Pub, starting about 7 o'clock. I don't have a theme or anything at this point. Just
Steampunk social.
Meet up, socialize.
Come hang out, meet us, talk, eat,
have
drink.
a bite. Yeah.
You might bring some board games or card games or something.
If you're working on any projects, come show and tell is always cool.
Yep. So this is the Baker Street Pub near Burnett and 183.
Right, the North Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Always a good time. Also, we're hoping, this is not official, but we're hoping on the third Thursday, on the 20th, the Steampunk Lamp Factory in San Marcos will have another one of their gatherings, because he says he wants to do it monthly now. So he hasn't put anything up yet, but let's cross our fingers and hope for the best.
That's what we did last month, and it turned
worked
out. He eventually posted.
Unfortunately, we did not make it to that one. They were out of town. I wasn't able to make it myself.
We were going to New Orleans.
Yeah, they had a good time.
As you know now.
Yeah. So after that, it's not quite steampunk, but we're going to mention it anyway.
Right. July 29th, the Gothic Prom will be happening at Elysium Austin, which is at 705 Red River Street, Austin, Texas. This will be happening Saturday, July 29th, starting at 9:30 p.m. and ending when the club closes at 2:30 a.m., hosted by DJ Crescendal. DJ Neff and DJ Crescendal cordially invite you for a night of darkness, splendor, and crepe paper. Shake on the shadows and dust off your dandy duds, escape the heat, and join us in the dark, cold grasp of the inaugural Gothic Prom. Dress your best, get your corsage, the biggest and fanciest hats and skirts you can find. Are you crazy? It's July! They scream. They always scream, but we're ready for that. Elysium will be featuring additional air conditioning units for the entire evening.
They're preparing. Awesome.
And no, we do not mean desk fans. VIP tickets are available for $10 now, $12 at the door. The VIP area features assigned seating, lovely tables, bottle service for wine, and champagne with exquisite surroundings.
Wow.
Seating is very limited. General admissions are available, $5 now, $7 at the door. Specialty drink menu will be featured for the evening. Drinks to be announced, so stay tuned. Prom kings and queens voting available at the DJ booth, with the royal couples to be announced at midnight. Prom photo booth brought to you by Wandering Photography. Online tickets are available at a discount on Eventbrite. Paper tickets are available later this week at Secret October. Doors at 9:30. Government issued ID required for entry. Wear a corsage and get a discount at the door. More information coming soon.
That's a lot. They're really going all out, aren't they?
Well, you know what they say about steampunk? It's goths who have discovered the color brown.
That's right. Although we've mingled with them before. Wasn't it like at one of our river cruises that we did here with Russ Argo? Like it was during one of the goth gatherings, and they joined us on that.
Yes.
It was like the first one he did.
Yes, it was a goth annual goth goths and steampunks play well together.
Yes.
We know this.
DJ Crescendal, I recognize as having DJ'd previous steampunk events and just socializing at other steampunk outings as well. So this crossover is perfectly normal and natural.
Yeah, I mean, and just as for discovering the brown part, a large amount of my steampunk garb is black. I don't really wear brown that often, so
maybe you're actually goth.
Oh, maybe. Okay, so that pretty much wraps it up.
That's it.
So thank you for listening.
Oh, one more thing. Simply because we're recording on Sunday the 2nd, July 4th is coming up.
Happy 4th of July.
Brexit 1776.
Oh, yeah.
Have a great time.
You damn colonials.
Woohoo! There, now we can say goodnight.
Okay, yes. Like us on Facebook, Texas Steampunk Connection. Talk to us. Send us a message. Give us comments, questions, anything you want.
Until next time,
mind your gauges. Thanks for listening. This has been the Texas Steampunk Connection. Opening music was The Texas Steer Rag by George Botsford, recorded in 1909.
Please like us on Facebook at Texas Steampunk Connection.
Where you will find the links to all the topics we talked about in this episode.
Until next time,
mind your gauges. One more time. Testing.
Works.
Mic 1.
2, check 2.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Your mother, blah, blah, blah.
Hey, leave my mom out of this. That woman's a saint.
Just say blah, blah, blah.